Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle and triumph, a platform that allows individuals to share their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. Hello, and thank you for joining us today for this episode of Her Version. For those of you that are already jumping on live, we love it. If you could do us a huge favor and if you could share this video wherever you are watching us at so we can get more eyes and more ears on the awesome content that we are about to share with you. We have had over 400 women grace this stage, and this stage is built on storytelling. The understanding that many times our greatest learning experiences come from listening to other people's stories. Today, I'm speaking with an amazing woman named Mara Whitener. Mara worked in corporate and as an entrepreneur for 20 years and has built and scaled several businesses from the ground up. She is an operations expert, but more importantly, a problem solver. After hitting burnout with her last business, she had a higher mission. Yes, girl. That was to help women create structure that align with their goals and eliminate the overwhelm and confusion around growing their businesses. Yes. So excited to talk to this woman. Welcome, lady. How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you doing?
I am doing so good. Did I
Good.
totally butcher your name? Is it Mara?
It's Mara. That's okay.
Mara. I'm sure I'm not the first person that's ever done that.
No, you're fine.
Maybe one other person.
Yeah, just one. You're fine.
Well, I'm so excited to be here. And listen, podcasts like this would not exist if it wasn't for our guest speakers, people who understand the importance of sharing inspiration, value, content, stories to really allow us to expand the way that we are in this world of podcasting. So thank you so much for being here and hanging out with us and being willing to just share some of your journey. I know that there's so much that you're doing in your world right now, in your community, in your business, and I'm super excited to jump into that. But before we get started, I love to start with stories. And the reason I love to start with stories, big or small, health, relationships, joy, money, career, business, is because so many times we're stuck. We're individuals, we're going around, we're living our life, we get caught up in some sort of a challenge. We grab onto this victimhood, woe is me, and it gets hard to move forward. It gets hard to see past it. It gets hard to see that there's any other way of, or a way of escaping or getting out of that or pivoting that. So to be able to share, a story and to have a journey that we can relate to really recognize like, hey, this story resonates with me, whether it matches her story exactly or not. Sometimes somebody says just the right thing to really help somebody push forward, take a step in the right direction to move past and to move forward. So I'd love to give the floor to you just for a moment for you to share whatever you're pulled to share regarding an inspirational story of some kind, and then let us know what you learned from that story.
I will. This is kind of two stories in one, but it's a little bit of my backstory and what led me to the mission that I'm on. I hit burnout with my last business. I've scaled several businesses. But while I was hitting burnout, I had competing businesses reach out to me, wondering how I was doing what I was doing, wanted help with the operations of their business. They were burning out as well, but they knew I had a lot of good things going on. And so I took on helping them. They might have been competing businesses, but they were other women. They were other women looking to build their dream and were reaching out for help. And so I felt very called to help them. And so I did, but I reached a tipping point where I had to make a choice, and I knew what my higher mission was. And it was to help as many female business owners as I could create a structure, in the back end operations of their business. It's not the sexy part of business, but it's the stuff we all need to have working for us. But to create a structure that works for them. Listen, we have a lot on our plate as women, right? We're mothers, we're sisters, we're wives, we're all of the things. We wear a whole lot of hats. And it crosses over when we look to build our businesses. We have a passion. There's a reason we want to start this business. There's a vision we're trying to create. But we also feel like we need to wear all the hats in our business, and it's hard for us to reach out for help sometimes. And I wanted to be that person that they reach out to for help. I can help solve what you're going through. I can help make things easier for you so you can continue to build your dream, because that's what I want to watch. I want to watch you thrive. I want to watch you build your dream, go after what you're going after, because we can all succeed. And so that was the choice I made. And it was hard. I've helped so many people over the last few years put some things into place that really support them. It's absolutely amazing. But one that stands out to me and really embodies everything that I do is recently, at the end of last year, I had a client come to me and she just said, I know things can run better. That's it. She didn't know how to articulate it, didn't know what that meant, and that's okay. That's what I'm here for. But she said, I know things can run better. I just don't know how to do it. So that's all right. We'll take a look at things. And so we did. And we only changed 3 things in her business. That was it. 3 things. We changed the system she was using. We put a couple new workflows in place. But the big thing is we had to put the right person in the right place on her team to help her out. And it was hard because there was a family member involved in this change that we had to make. So that was a little complicated, but we got the right person in the right place. And it not only saved her more than 50% of her time every week, it saved her assistant more than 50% of her time every week. She gained back a ton of time. She was able to immediately go out and sign 3 new clients in the time that she saved in less than a month. And she saved $12,000 a year. And her response to me was, I can sleep at night. And that's the part that always melts my heart. Is it's hard to run a business. It's hard for anybody to run a business. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of different hats and things. And sometimes we got so caught up in running our business, it affects our sleep. We make sacrifices with our friends and our family, much more than we actually realize. And for her to come back, and I've had multiple people, but for her to come back and say, I can sleep at night. Like, I know things are running well. I know I can take a day off and things aren't going to derail. That's huge. It means you can get your life back and still build your business and still pursue your dream. But it's just about putting the right pieces in the right place to make it all work for you. And so there's a lot of hidden gems that I can come in and help people uncover. But just the power of really exploring what those right pieces are for you. And that doesn't have to look like how your best friend is doing it. Doesn't have to look like how your business mentor is doing it. You may look up to them and you may want what they have, but that doesn't mean you have to do it exactly how they did it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. There is no cookie cutter solution. And it kind of crawls all over me when I see people throwing out cookie cutter solutions because, hey, we're each individuals. We're each unique. We don't have to do it the same way, but we can get to the same place. And that's what I love helping people do, is to put things in place that work for them, not their friends, not everyone else, for them, and taking their vision and what they want to create and helping them make that happen.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
When it comes to your personal experience with that and the journey that you were on, what was your greatest takeaway from all of that?
My greatest takeaway is burnout is never a place I would wish on anyone. And it can be totally avoided. I mean, if you looked in the dictionary on textbook burnout symptoms, I was right there. And, you know, I take what I do very, very seriously and I go all in. But that epiphany where I hit burnout, but I also realized what my higher mission was, is I'm doing this differently and I'm helping other women do it different. We don't have to do things to hit burnout and overwhelm. We don't have to kill ourselves just to make a dream happen. So I will never do it like I did it before and hit burnout. There are important things. I leave time for friends. I leave time for family. I do the things that make me happy and self-care. And it means I can show up for my friends. I can show up for my family, and I can show up for my clients as a much better version of me.
Definitely.
Than by overworking and hitting burnout.
Yeah. When you think about, you know, from just a short conversation here, it sounds very much as if you come in, you know, year 2, 5, 10 years into this journey. Recognizing that, I'm sure that there's times when you have thoughts of like, I wish I could have gotten this person the day one.
Mm-hmm.
What is one or two things that somebody should really be honing in on when they're looking to step into entrepreneurship? Either they're leaving corporate and going into it, or they're doing the stay-at-home mom and going into it. What is like the first one or two things that everybody should have implemented before they even, day one, they're sitting down? What should they be doing?
Day one is get very clear on what you want to build and how you want to build it. Sometimes it's hard on day one to get very clear, and that's okay. It's also a journey that you go through when you're just starting out. If this worked and this didn't work, that is a journey we all have to go through. But I think being very clear up front, the vision that you want to create, but aligning all of your decisions that you make, whether that be someone to come on and help you, whether that be someone to help you with marketing or all of your client messaging or how you go about sales, be very true to yourself and do those decisions align with your overall goal, and don't stray from that. Once you stray from that, you kind of lose sight of your overall vision. But if you align everything to where you want to go, that will help get you there much, much quicker. And the other thing is I'm a very big component of be open to help. Doesn't mean you have to break the bank for help, but be very open as you go. And don't get to the point where you're overwhelmed. If you start to get there, that is your cue. You need to look either for help or something else needs to change. And there are folks that I get before we get to the point of overwhelm, and I love putting things in place with them before they get there, because I can see them soar right past it and get to their goals much quicker. But yeah, if you're able to at the beginning really try to keep that focus and be open to help and looking at things, using those red flags and those cues as you go, that road of entrepreneurship won't necessarily look like this. It'll just, you can kind of roll right on with it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I feel as if one of the main things that I see holding people back from taking a step into entrepreneurship is this thought process of having to focus on one thing. You know, they're not quite sure, they have an idea, they don't know what it looks like. We're told to niche down, even though we don't really even know what niche, because there's 6 different ones we could choose from. And I
Yes.
find a lot of times before
Mm-hmm.
they quit. Lack of patience, lack of mental capacity because of overwhelm, um, and also just scared to pivot, right? Like, I don't know what I want to do. Therefore, because I don't know exactly what I want to do for the rest of my life,
Yes.
I'm going to make no decision at all.
Mm-hmm.
What is your thought process on pivoting and allowing a business person to flow into a thought, knowing that at some point it could pivot in the future, and then being okay with that?
That's a good question. It is one of the tougher things, whether you're at the beginning or even if you're 2, 5, 10 years into business, it can even be hard to pivot at that point, because we think we have found this direction or lack of direction at the beginning. And it's scary. It's a scary place to not know or think, okay, but now I have to change everything, but I'm really feeling drawn to this direction. It can be very, very tough, but leaning into whatever your instinct is. So my instinct is follow my gut, right? So when my gut just says, this is a direction you need to follow, I have leaned into that. And when I follow my gut, when it tells me something, good things happen. Like that is what is supposed to happen. Some go by a feeling, some go by following their heart, some go by following their gut, but I would suggest lean into it. It's a scary place sometimes, but when you do it, just absolutely amazing things can happen, and you actually broaden and can actually get a lot more clarity on what it is you want to do when you lean into those directions and those feelings and those instincts. They are trying to tell you something for a reason.
Yeah.
And so it can be really hard to, but learning to trust yourself and your own instincts is having a little self-confidence and having that trust in your abilities, and that you're going to know what is right for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What are you finding is one of the biggest fears that you see within the female realm of entrepreneurship? What are we afraid of?
Afraid of failure is the biggest thing that I see, especially following your gut, following your heart. There's a lot of fear around that. What if I fail? What if I don't make this thing happen and I just sacrifice time with friends and family and my kids and what if I fail? What are people going to think? What does this say about me? The fact that this is not going to work. Learning to have some trust in yourself and learning to reach out for help are key. to getting over those fears. In fact, I met with a client not too long ago, and there's some fear around failure, but also around the money part of failure. Making the right investments to make things take off. And she has her own process for kind of working through those fears, but that's what's been holding her back for months, is not being able to have the clarity of that plan to go forward. But now that she does, she's able to work through that fear, and she knows it's going to succeed now. She has that plan. But yeah, failure is a big one for most every client that I work with. There is some deep-seated fear, and it usually revolves around failure.
When it comes to your own story, in your own journey, what do you think is the biggest fear that you've really had to hone in on and caress and calm down and put on a shelf?
It's probably the same fear of failure, fear of I needed to prove myself worthy. I needed to prove that I could do this. I said I was going to set out to do it. Like, what happens if I can't do it? I had to get over the fact that if something doesn't succeed, doesn't mean I'm a failure as a person. There may be a lot of factors that play into something not succeeding, or it could be that's not what I was meant to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've had to really learn and lean into trusting myself. Again, that kind of goes back to the pivoting. If one thing kind of runs its course, it's not necessarily a failure. It's bringing me to where I'm supposed to be. And I'm not a failure as a person.
Yes.
Right? Our circumstances and things that happen do not make us failures as a person. But we're still beautiful. We're still great. We're still worthy of everything life is going to give us.
Yep.
And what we're going to work for. But one thing that maybe just doesn't work out, it's okay. Mm-hmm. It's not tied to our entire self-worth. And so that has been a big journey for me over the years. And once I learned to lean into it, and once I really, that big burnout, that was a big pivot for me to kind of follow my gut. And it's been phenomenal.
That's great. Mm-hmm. What are you finding is the reasons why businesses kind of plateau? I hear about this a lot as far as when they first get going, we're good, we're making money, we're pulling in a little bit. There's a trajectory, that's looking like this. Mm-hmm. And then there comes a point, could be a year in or even 5 years in, where somewhere there's a misstep and the business seems to kind of plateau or just kind of be on a standstill. Where do you think that comes from your experience as far as why businesses kind of tend to stop growing?
That can come from a multitude of areas. In fact, I wrote something on this not that long ago about the 10 most common reasons I see businesses get stuck or plateau or stop growing. When you plateau and you stop growing is your time to really take a look at everything you have going on, because it's time for a change. Could be small changes, could be big changes, but it's time for a change. And in my experience, a lot of it is rooted somewhere in your operations.
Oh.
It could be your team. You don't have the right people in the right places. Doesn't mean you don't have a great team, mm-hmm. but it means you may not be playing on everyone's strengths.
Ooh,
and empowering them to elevate you, right? And your business and your vision. Mm-hmm. I could go in a whole big tirade of how that affects everything. But you could not have the right team members. You could have not the correct systems for you in place, or the workflows. Things are slow to get done. There could be things that could be put in place that speed it up. Everyone is much more productive. You're more productive. You can get things off of your plate. It can reside in you. You hit a plateau in either your capacity to take on more. Maybe you are starting to get to that overwhelm, overworked, almost burnout stage.
Mm-hmm.
And if you reach that, it trickles down into your entire business. Potential clients pick up on that. Your team picks up on that. And as a result, your entire business can be affected. So typically it is rooted somewhere in your operations, and having someone help you take a look at that is important. And it could be also with pivoting how you're reaching out to clients, your marketing, your messaging. Are you reaching the people you want to reach? Are you saying what they need to hear to come work with you?
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of things though root back to operations. And I feel it's the foundation of building a strong structure that you can grow. You can put awesome sales strategies and awesome marketing strategies in place, but if you don't have the foundation behind those, at some point, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years in, you're going to see the results of not putting that in place properly.
Yeah. I can definitely see that. When it comes to business and, what you do specifically to help humans run their businesses, what is the first step in you helping them? What could somebody expect to hear from you day one of working with you?
Day one of working with me, no matter how you choose to go about doing it, I'm going to ask you what you have going on. I'm going to take a little bit of a deep dive and ask some detailed questions to find out what you have going on, why you put it in place, the backstory. But then I'm going to pivot, and I'm going to spend a whole lot of time with you to figure out what you're trying to build. What's your why? What's the lifestyle you're trying to create? What was the overall mission? Are you on a mission to help create a product or a service that helps resolve homelessness? Like, are you, what's your mission? What drove you to start this and create this thing? And I spend a lot of time on that, which seems a little counterintuitive if you're asking me to come in and fix your current issues. But I need to know what's driving you. I want to know what you're trying to build, because I'm not going to help you put things in place just to fill the gaps and the holes in what you have going on. We're going to do that, but we're going to do it in a way that helps drive you to your overall vision, and not just putting it in place just to put it into place.
Yeah.
Right?
When you say lifestyle,
Mm-hmm.
what does that mean?
I've worked with different people that part of their overall vision is, I have several digital nomads. They want to be able to work from anywhere. I have some, in fact, in the Virgin Islands right now. They want to pick up and go. And to create a structure around what they do and to allow them the ability to do that, you have to put some different things in place than someone who maybe isn't looking to be a digital nomad and can up and go whenever, but wants to be able to take off every afternoon and pick their kids up from school and know that their business is still going to run. Wants to be able to go to their kids' practices and their soccer games and be there for family gatherings and not feel like they are tied to their laptop or phone and trying to work. It's really what you want out of life and how you want to live it and how your business plays a role in that.
Beautiful. That totally makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Forgot about the nomads.
Mm-hmm. So it all depends. And again, you could have a best friend with the same business, but it's going to look very different.
Yeah.
And that's okay. It's the beauty of being able to go into entrepreneurship and start your own business, to have that freedom to create what you want out of life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's also important to recognize the capacity of which we work with people too. Exactly what you said, as far as two people having the same business, one could be selling online courses and one could be working one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
So even that would be two totally different ways of operating your business.
Mm-hmm. It's how you want to make the impact that you're looking to make and what jives with you and how you want to work with people.
Yeah.
I love to work one-on-one. I don't see myself ever moving away from that. That's just part of what fills my heart.
Mm-hmm.
But other people that do something similar, they like to do courses and trainings and things like that. And it's great. It's all, really important information, and it's stuff people can learn. We just do it two different ways. And it's okay. Because quite frankly, I've partnered with people that do similar things to what I do. We just do it in a different way. And we can help complement each other and help each other grow.
Mm-hmm. There is a kind of silent debate that has always probably been around within entrepreneurship and small businesses, as far as people first versus profits first. What is your thought process on that, you personally?
Me personally, I'm a big, big, big proponent of people first. I think if the people come first, the profits will come later. You will design a business based on what your focus is, and that's going to be the atmosphere that you create. Now, don't get me wrong, the bigger you get in business, it becomes harder because there's many more people involved, right? But I've heard so much more and more people are leaving corporate. They don't like the profit first. They want to be treated like the people that they are. And when you treat people like the people that they are and you empower them to use their gift, just the change in people and how they shine, I just think is absolutely beautiful, and it's essential. And I think the profit will come later.
Beautiful. I want to give a quick shout out to those listening live. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with us. If you could do us a favor and just share the video wherever you're watching us at, so we can get more ears and eyes on this content, we would so appreciate it. If you're just jumping on right now, we are having some fun talking about business and people and profits and all the goodness that goes along with entrepreneurship and small businesses. But I would love to kind of dive even deeper into what you specifically do in your business. For those that are watching live, for those of us that are catching us on the replay and they've made it this far, 34 minutes in, they're obviously resonating with you, your story, your vibrations. Who should be contacting you? Who do you specifically work with?
I work with creative visionaries that they're either stuck with not knowing the next steps on how to grow their business, just really don't want to deal with it, with the back end and the operations of their business. But I really work with creative visionaries, just looking to grow and build your vision, but just need that support in how to do it.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
And where can people find you online? Where do you predominantly hang out at?
I hang out a lot on LinkedIn, so you can find me on LinkedIn, as well as I do have a website, whitenerpros.com, that you can get a little bit more information on what I have to offer. But yeah, I'd love if people connect with me on LinkedIn, drop a lot of little nuggets of information, and I've published a few articles on there. So hopefully it's some helpful tidbits for people out there that can help in any way in their business.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And what are your big dreams for your business?
My big dreams are really just to help as many females as I can. I only take on a certain amount at a time, but my goal is to help you have a plan and to help you grow to where you don't need me. Right? That's my big dream. It fills my heart, and that makes me happy. And that is my picture of success.
And why do you do what you do? Why did you decide to get into this avenue?
It has been what I've done my entire career, whether I fully realized it until now or not. It I've always excelled in back-end operations. And I think when I had competitors reach out to me in my last business, and be very vulnerable and say, we need help, it resonated, and I knew my why, and I knew this is what I was meant to do. And it was to help everyone that I can, every female that I can, build whatever dream they're trying to build. And so that's what drives me every day. And every person I work with, it looks completely different.
Yeah.
And I love the puzzle of it and the creativity of it, that we can build these successful things, and they all look different. It's like putting a big jigsaw puzzle together, but they all look different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. I so love this. I love your vibrations. I love everything you stand for. I so appreciate you taking some time out of your day to sit down and share some awesome information with us today. Any closing thoughts as we wrap up?
I just want to encourage any woman out there, either looking to start a business, has an idea, has a dream, or any woman that is already in business, reach out for help. You are not alone. And you don't have to do it alone. There is no shame in asking. And it can actually take you much, much farther towards your dream when you call in the help.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for being here, for hanging out. For those of you that resonate with Mara and all of the awesomeness that she shared today, make sure you find her on LinkedIn. Her website is right above her head, whitenerpros.com. It's also in a clickable link in the description wherever you are watching us at. We love to connect people here on this platform in order to make sure that we all continue to rise. Thank you so much for joining us here on this episode of Her Aversion. This community is expanding every single day and is filled with females who are striving to do better than they did yesterday. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. If you have an amazing story to share, reach out to me at hernation.life. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I'm so grateful to be here sharing a platform that allows people to share their truth and inspire